Hello, am I audible, everybody? Can someone just write in the chat, maybe? Okay, thanks. So, I see that people are still joining. Okay, thank you, guys. So, I can see that people are still joining. So, let's give it a few more minutes and then we can start the class. Okay, everyone, maybe we can slowly start the class and people can, I see people are still joining, but let them join and we can start the class slowly. Okay. So first of all, I'm sorry that we had to reschedule the class. I have a conference tomorrow, so I will not be able to take the class in a regular time slot. So that's why I had it preponed to today. Anyway, thanks for all of you to for joining on this unusual time and on Sunday evening nonetheless. So that's the first thing. Secondly, yeah, maybe I'll just share my screen. Mm. So yeah, well, in case anyone is joining for the first time, my name is Zinia. I am a PhD student in astrophysics at the Indian Institute of Science, and I've been taking these problem-solving sessions for the past 2 weeks. And usually, as I mentioned in the beginning, the classes are on Monday evenings. But because this week I have a prior commitment, I will not be able to take it in the usual time, which is why it's right now in this time. But yeah, usually it is on Monday evenings between 6 to 8. The purpose of these sessions are that to help you in your understanding of this NPTEL course, Joy of Computing using Python. So you already have your recorded lectures, which I hope you are all watching, and you have your assignments and programming assignments and all those things that you have to submit. So these are live sessions where we can solve problems and do programs which are similar to your assignments, but not the exact same questions, so that you get an idea or get used to solving problems of this style. And then you can apply these techniques to solving other problems like the ones in your assignments. So this is for you, opportunity for you to clear your doubts and have some hands-on experience in problem solving and programming. Because as I keep saying throughout these classes, programming is a skill such that until you get down and get your hands dirty, you will not be able to understand. There is a art to programming, and there is a, there it's more of a creative endeavor, and it's something that, you cannot just pick up by watching other people do it. It's something you have to learn by trying it yourself, and not just watching videos or using AI or whatever it is. So I hope that these sessions are providing that kind of platform to you, platform where at least once a week for 2 hours you sit and sincerely try to code. So once again, I am telling you, all of you, that um, to get the full benefit of these sessions, I would appreciate if you would join on a laptop or some sort of system that can run Python, so that you can try the programs live, so that when you get stuck at some hurdle during the programming part, I can help you live as well. Of course, if you have doubts other than, during this 2 hour window, you are always free to contact me. This is my mail ID, which is there in the slides that I share every week. And you can mail me if you have any particular doubts regarding course material, and also if you want some particular type of program or topic to be discussed in the following class. One important note here is I am not an NPTEL employee, so I am not in charge of your correcting your assignments or your exams or scheduling them or anything like that. So if you have any logistics issues, like you have some issue with submitting assignments or getting the marks or exam details or something like that, I think the best forum for that is that in the NPTEL course itself, you have this question and answer discussion forum. There you have some dedicated people who are there for solving such doubts and also doubts related to course material. So I can also help you with doubts related to course material, but these logistics things, I am also as clueless as you. So it would be better if you go to the official source. So as I said, this is my mail ID, and all of the slides of the sessions, the programs, and the recorded videos of these sessions have been made available to you, and I hope you have been able to access them. I think the links are already available to you, but in case you have any issues, I have made a website. I made a page on my website where you can just access them. So this is that page essentially. So you can see that you can find the recordings of the live sessions here for past 2 weeks. And then you can also find the slides of the sessions here. And in the Google folder, I additionally also always include the programs that we discuss in the class. So again, all of this is already available to you. And I'll just paste this link in the chat so that it is, you can just save this, just bookmark this URL so that you can just access all the links in one place. That's why I made the page on the website. And this is my mail ID in case any of you want to mail me at any point throughout the week asking me to cover a particular topic. That is appreciated. Again, if you mail it a little earlier in the week, then I can incorporate it in that following lecture. Please don't mail me asking me to solve your assignment problems. That I will strictly ignore such problems if you mail me then. Okay, fine. So those are all the logistics things. I will repeat the links at the end. In between, please don't interrupt the class continuously asking where are the links, where can I find the recorded videos, etc., 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 as many of you are prone to do. Be rest assured that the links will be available to you. These classes are taken for your benefit and for your comfort only. So they will be made available to you in one form or another. And in case you have any difficulty finding the links, that's why I've collected them all into one web page. So just bookmark that web page and keep it handy. That's what I would say from my side. Okay. All right. So let's move to the class. Unless anyone has some pressing question at this point, we can maybe move to the planned material for today. Any immediate concerns? Okay, I don't see anything. An additional note is that I have disabled mic access for everyone. This was based on the first class, because in the first class, I think, because these meetings tend to have large numbers of people, and if one or two people have their mics unmuted, it is a disturbance to the whole class. But in case you guys want to unmute and ask something, I mean, of course, you're always welcome to write your answers in the chat box. But in case you want to unmute and ask something, please write that also in the chat box, and I will give you mic access temporarily. But because of the thing I mentioned, I'm not giving everyone mic access. I hope you guys understand. And it's just a logistics issue because of the huge number of people that join these meetings. Right. Okay, good. Someone asks, what are we learning today? So, very good. So, every week we'll be discussing based on a particular week's. So, you know that your course is divided into 12 weeks. So, every week we'll be taking one of those weeks and discussing problems and programming assignments which are related to that week. This week we are talking about the week 3 material. And just to recap, because you guys have already have access to, let me just one sec open Teams on my phone so I can monitor the chat while I take the class. Right. So since you already have access to the lectures, I'm assuming that you've seen the lectures. So again, these classes are not really for teaching you computing. They are more for recapping and, solving problems so you get some hands-on experience. The actual lecture material is covered by the recorded lectures that I hope you all are watching. So, right. So, in this week's lectures, mainly what you have seen is about lists and list operations. And we had briefly used lists and mentioned them in last week's class itself. List as, of course, a type of data structure, which is a way to store data in Python. And we can also, um, yeah, one sec. Sorry, I saw some message in the chat. I couldn't attend and refer the recorded lectures for the last 2 weeks. Would it affect today's lecture? I think it's still fine because the first week was just an introduction to computing and pipe programming in general. And the second week was more about variables and lists. So we are continuing more of the same. If you should be able to follow, but again, if you find it difficult, then I would encourage you to, again, this video is also recorded, so you can always go back and refer if you find anything difficult as well. You should be able to follow. But please try to keep up because this is like a additive, it's like a thing that adds up, right? So right now we are still in the early stages of the course, so it's easy. But later on, if it's like something like week 9, then you will be also using material from week 1. It's difficult to catch up at that stage. So if any of you are behind now, try to catch up as you go along so that it's a comprehensive course where things that you learn in the first class are relevant in the last class also. So try to keep that continuity maintained. Okay. So we already saw and actually used um, lists and lists operations which are there, which we have used last week, and we'll be further delving into these topics today. Okay. So, in the start of every lecture, I've taken 3 Python courses now in this capacity. And in the start of each of these lectures, I'd like to show this slide because, as I have said already in this course, I think it's not only important to write code, it's also important to write good code. So, remember to always keep your coding practices good in the sense that, don't just keyboard smash and choose variable names, file names, function names. Indent your code properly. Indentation means the spacing that is there in the code. That's very important because in Python, without indentation, proper indentation, the code will throw errors. But even in coding languages that don't require indentation like C, I would recommend that you indent your code so it's readable. You should use comments wherever possible, white space, that is the spacing wherever possible, and always try to document what your code does. Have a document ready that explains what your code does. This helps not only other people who you may be sharing your code to, but even yourself in the future. You might look back at a code and not even remember what it does. It's useful to have these kinds of practices so you're never in any doubt about what a code is doing. And you have worked out the logic, but it's not necessarily you'll remember the logic and the variables that you used in what way a year from now, for example. So be kind to yourself and to others and try to maintain some good coding practices. Okay, fine. So this is so as I said, this week we talk about lists, right? So lists are basically, as I said, they are data structures, which is a way in which Python stores data, and they store multiple items in a single variable. So these items could be integers, floats, they could be strings, like in the example here, and so on. So list items are ordered, which means that they have a particular index that you can assign to them. They are changeable and they allow duplicate values. So items are indexed. The first item has an index of 0, the second item has an index of 1, etc. So for example, let's just show this with a, oh, sorry. Let's just show this with an example. So if you just look at my terminal, I'll just enter Python and let's create a list of numbers. Okay, so this is a list of numbers, right? If I give a of 0, then I get the first element. If I give a of 3, then I actually get the fourth element, because remember, I'm counting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3 is the fourth element. Similarly, if I want to access the list in reverse, then all I have to do is give this a of minus 1, and this will give me the last element. Similarly, a of minus 2 is going to give me the second last element, and so on. So this is how you index a list. Indexing list is very important, as you will see. You can also do something like this. Oh, sorry. Right. Yes, so this gives me all the elements from 0 to 1 without counting 2, for example. So this is called list splicing. This is very important. These are the ways in which you can access the elements in a list. So for example, if I give A of all the elements from the list from 0 to 5, so sorry, 1 to 5, so that means just all the elements, so 0 to 5, let's say 5, because I need to have all the elements. And then if I give 2, that means that that's the step size. So every second element will be printed. So you can see that 1, 2 is not printed, 3, 4 is not printed, 5 is printed. So this is another way in which you can access the elements of a list. Okay. So you don't have to remember all this now, but you will be using these kinds of things again and again when you do programming. So it's better to understand these things now. Okay. You can also just write the command I just wrote like this. Okay. So these are all different ways in which I can access certain elements of a list, or even certain sub elements of a list, right? If I only want to access the first two elements or the last two elements or every odd element, these are the ways in which you can do it. Okay, great, fine. So as I said, lists can contain data of different types. So here, this is a list of strings. I just did my examples on a list of numbers. Similarly, there are different kinds of data in Python, which you have already seen. So you have integers, which are irregular numbers. You have floats, which are decimal numbers. You have strings, which are words or collections of characters. Then you have functions and booleans and so on. So, as I said, a list is a type of data type, but it's not only a type of data type, it's a type of container data type, which means that it contains other data elements. So, lists are one example, tuples and dictionaries are other examples, and we'll be looking at those in following weeks as well. And finally, I just wanted to mention again that the way that we manipulate data in Python is using different operators. We've already seen a lot of these operators last week when we did last week's problems. But just to remind you that these are the different kinds of operations and operators that you use in Python to manipulate your data or to perform certain data actions. Okay. So I think that is just a recap of what is the week 3 material. Now let's go on to the actual problems, which is to do some questions, right? So let's start with the first question. As always, put your answers in the chat and then we can discuss them. I'll give you a few minutes to put it in the chat and then we can discuss that. So here you have a following code snippet which has been kept here. The question is, what does this code snippet actually do? Okay. So look at the code snippet carefully and answer the question. I'm just monitoring the chat on my phone. I don't see any answers yet. Yes, okay. Someone has given an answer. Can you please match it to one of the options A, B, C, or D? This is a multiple choice question. Okay, one person says A. I only see one answer in the chat. Okay, another answer that's A. Okay, you can see slowly that people are starting to answer. Oh, okay. Now B. Okay, I can see that different options are coming up, A, B, and C. Read the options carefully. They all look like they're the same option, but there are some differences between them. So read the answer options carefully and then try to answer the question. Okay, I'll give 2 more minutes in case people are still answering. I don't see many people answering in the chat. Okay, someone says D. Okay, I can see that most people are cut between C and B, but it seems like majority of people are saying B. B because it's list of element, not number. Okay. Okay, now someone is saying A. Interesting. Okay. Okay, I think we can go to the answer. I don't see a clear majority. Actually, I've seen all four options. The answer is actually C. Because the reason it's C and not B is because, well, A and B are kind of the same option. And don't worry about, number versus element. That's just some semantics, right? That's just some words, right? The important thing is that in this program, we are not just immediately taking the count of the elements, sorry, the elements itself as input. We first take the count of the elements. So that's what this line is doing. N is equal to enter the number of elements means it takes a count of how many elements are there in the list first. Then only it asks to enter the elements in the loop. So that's why option C is correct. Option D seems to say the same thing, but see that option D says it prints the count of the elements entered, which is not true. It doesn't print the count of the elements entered, it actually prints the elements themselves. That's why D is not correct. So this is a very simple program, but you can see that the options were all designed in such a way that they look like they're the same, but you have to read them carefully in order to get the correct answer. So this is how your assignment questions will be. You have to read them carefully and don't just go to the first option you see. Try to really understand what each option says and what is the difference in between the options. We have no loop for count. This is the loop, right? That gives you the count. So once you get the count of elements, you loop through as many elements as they are and get the input from the user. Okay. Is this okay for everyone? This is a simple program, but I know that the options look the same. So you have to read them carefully. You have to be a little patient with these kinds of questions. Is this fine? Any doubts? Okay, fine. Let's move to the. Okay, I don't understand the last message. Um, that's written. Maybe you can. I don't know what you're trying to say, but Yeah, string of I plus 1 is just so that, it comes as a inter element 1, enter element 2, etc. That's all for it's for. Okay? That's just what it is. That's all. Okay, fine. So let's go to the next question. Okay, so it's a multiple select question, which means that multiple options could be correct in this question. So please read the question first carefully and answer all the options which are correct, not just the one or two options. It may be multiple options, right? Not just one option, it may be multiple option. So data structure is a way by which you can organize or arrange your data. Which of the following statements are true about list data structures? Again, this is a multiple select question. Okay, someone says all. There's some question about the previous question, but I'm not able to understand it. Loop for inputting the value, not for count. Yeah, the loop is for inputting the value of the numbers because count is just one value. Why would you need a loop for count? Okay. Um, I can see that people are saying both ABC and all. So is D correct or not? You guys decide. Okay, I can see people are still answering. I'll give you a time. So list is a data structure. That's what I was just showing you. List is a container type data structure where it contains other data in it as well, but it can also be thought of as a data structure of its own. Okay, I can see that most people have answered. So let's, many of you have answered. So let's go to the answer. The answer is actually all of these options are correct. The list is a flexible data structure where you can change the order and elements that are there in the data structure. So you can add elements to a list, which is what we saw in the previous example. You can remove elements from a list. And if you want to initialize an empty list, this is the format that you follow. How all options are correct? Well, because they are correct. Which option do you have doubt in? All options are correct because this is a multiple select question. So there is more than one option which is correct. Sometimes you will get question like this. Yeah, list is equal to empty brackets, initializes an empty list. Exactly. So that's why the last option is also correct. B option is correct, right? We can always add elements to a list. That's what we just now did in this example. You initialize an empty list and you actually added them to a list using append. So always you can add elements to a list. There are other data structures where you can't add elements to, which we will see later on in the course. But list is something which is very flexible. Isn't it array last D option? Array is the generic name for it, but in Python, arrays are called lists. They're also, array is just a collection of numbers. So a list is an array, but not every array can be a list. Okay. List dot append item adds element. You can subtract elements from a list. There is list dot remove. If you use list dot remove, then it removes. So for example, we can go to my example. So if I have A, you can see that I have A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I give A dot append of 6, then that adds an element to the list. So as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I give A dot remove of 6, and now I print A, then you can see that it has removed this um, thing. Okay, fine. If you answer only one option, then you will lose marks. I think so. I'm not sure. I think you have to answer all the options to for it to count. Is this idle? I I think you mean IDE. No, this is not an IDE. This is just the terminal. I'm not running in an IDE because these are simple commands. I'm just running on my terminal and showing you. For it's better if you're just getting started out then and writing programs, it's easier to do it in an IDE, and that's what I use for the later part. But these are just for checking, so that's why I'm just using my terminal. I don't want to open VSC for just these simple commands. Okay, great. Next question, which of the following is or are false statements? So again, this is a multiple select question, so multiple answers are correct. And here we want the false statements, okay, which are wrong. And yeah, please send all the correct, I guess all the wrong options in the chat. So I saw someone saying that I should run the code so it's more effective. So I can do that. But the reason that you solve questions like this is because to be a good programmer, you shouldn't just be able to write code. You should also be able to read code and understand what it does without having to run it yourself. So so that's an important skill to have. So even without running a code, you should have an idea of what it's doing or what the logic is. So try to do it that way. If people are having trouble understanding, we can of course run the code, but I would appreciate if you try this way. Okay, great. I saw that people are sending answers. A, B, and D, B and D, A, B, and C, A and D, A and D, A and D are false. Okay, so I guess we can move to the answer. Okay, people are still answering. I'll give a minute. So I think most people are agreeing that A and D are false, and then they are confused about if B and C are also false. So remember, we are looking for the false options. Okay, let's move on to the answer. The answer is actually A, B, and D, which many of you did answer. Very good. So lists are fixed in size is wrong. As you just now saw when I ran it in my terminal, I initially initialized a list to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was easily able to add an extra list element to it. Uh, B, B option is false. One cannot access an element using non-numeric indices. So the question is which options are false, right? So B is false. We are looking for the false options. C is iterating over lists is possible in Python, which is a true statement. You can iterate over lists, and that's how we, for example, that's very much how we do many loops in Python is we just iterate over a list. Then finally, we need to specify required size of list while creating a new list variable. Not necessary, as you saw in the previous example. We can always create an empty list and then we can add it items to that. That's always allowed in Python. Non-numeric indices means indices which are not numbers. So numeric is numbers, right? So when we access elements of a list, we write A of 0, A of 1, etc. So you have to access it using numbers. You cannot access it using A of first or something like that. That's the point. I hope this is fine. I think these are easy questions. Okay, next question. Consider the following code snippet. What does it do? So you have a code, 2 lines of code. What happens when I run this code? Okay, I can see people are answering B. That's most of you agree. That's good. There's a majority answer this time. Okay, let's move to the answer maybe because I think most people agree. The answer is actually D, so very good. So remember that list indices always start with 0. So when I say L of 2, that is not the second element of the list, it's actually the third because the first element of the list is given by L of 0, the second element is given by L of 1, and the third element is given by L of 2. So in this example, it becomes Anthony is brother of Akbar and Amar. So that is how you should think of it. Okay. I don't think any doubts in this because everyone gave the correct answer. So very good. Let's go to the next question. If you guys have any doubts, feel free to stop me at any time. And if you want to unmute and speak, again, just mention in the chat. I will give you mic access. As I said in the beginning, because of the large number of people in the class, which is above 100 for last 2 weeks, I'm just denying everyone mic access because if even one person unmutes, it becomes a disturbance for the full class. But in case you want to ask a question orally, then fine, please tell me and I will give the mic access. Anyway, here's the next question. Um, this question says numbers is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's some list and something is being done to the list. So what is being done to the list? What does this piece of code do? So please answer the question in the chat. I can see that most of you are saying A. Okay, give one more minute in case people are still answering. A or C. So in this case, this is not a multiple select question. It is actually a single option question. So there's only one correct answer because all the options are so different, right? So please carefully answer. Okay, fine. Let's move to the answer because most of you have answered. The answer is A, very good. So here each element of the list is taken and it is multiplied by 2 and then printed. So remember that when I write something like into equals, that is a assignment operator. So for example, just going back to, okay, let me just clear this. Just going back to Python, suppose I have something like A is equal to 5. If I write A into equals to, then A becomes 10, right? So that's same as writing A is equal to A into 2. So for example, if I write B is equal to 5 and I write B is equal to B into 2, now I put into B, you can see B also becomes 10. So these two statements are equal. Writing A into equals to 2 and A is equal to A into 2 are the same thing. So these are called assignment operators. You can do it with anything. So like A plus equal to will just add 2 to it, or A minus equal to will subtract 2. You can also be division. Okay. So that is the point. I don't understand this question. So the question is simply, what does this code do? Is there any problem? Dictionaries and tuples you will be facing in a different time. So in a different week. Sorry. I don't understand the question. The question is quite simply, what does this code do? So I don't know. Twice and multiply 2 is the same. Are you talking about option A and B? Are you saying that option A and B are the same? Because I don't know if that's what you mean, but option A and B are quite different because here it multiplies each number by 2 and here it's appends each number to the list twice, which means that if this was the case, then it would be 2, 2, 4, 4, 6, 6, 8, 8, 10, 10. So here when they say twice, they mean that appending twice or putting it in the list twice, which is not what's happening. Each element is being multiplied by 2. So it's becoming twice its value. A option is correct. 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 A is what is a correct option. Fine. So let's go to the next question, maybe. Okay. What is the output of this code? So here you can see that a library is being imported called random, which does exactly what it sounds like. So please try answering today. You can put your answers in the chat. Yeah, because the option, okay, someone's still asking about the previous question in the chat, so that's what I'm addressing. Others, please continue to solve this question. But in the previous question, the wording on the option was appends each element twice. So when you say append twice, that means you're adding, appending is basically adding to a list. So adding to a list twice, right? That's why. Okay, fine. I don't see any answers for the current question. Please put them in the chat if you have them. What is your question? Can you just put it again? Maybe after. Okay, wait. I found it. In an assignment, we have to write the whole function for the given question problem. Yeah, I mean, those are your programming assignments, right? We'll be doing some of those as well after this. And uh, I don't know about the exam format. As I said at the top, I am an external person. I don't set the assignments or set the exams. That is better. You can ask about it to someone else. Okay. Fine. So I can see that people are saying C, B, A, D. Okay, I see all the options here. I don't see any clear majority yet. Okay. People are saying A and C now. No, no, no. There is still a B. Not sure about the answer, but B. Okay, fine. We'll discuss the answer. Sorry. Okay. So those of you who have given answer, any answer, uh, so this is clearly asking you what this function genetic evolution is doing. So what do you think that this function is doing? Those of you who have answered any of the options, can you just tell me what this function is actually doing? Generating random number is part of it. It generates a random number, sure, it's part of it. It returns zeros to ones. Does it always return zeros to one? In all the cases, does it give 0 to 1? It's mutating the string on basis of probability. Okay. Mutating or changing the string on basis of some probability. Right? So I think we can go to the answer. So the answer is actually a string with some ones and some zeros. So the reason why it's not a sure answer that whether it's all ones or all zeros is because, as someone mentioned, here there is a probability involved, and some of you have already mentioned that this is a random, there is somehow random number changing. Yeah, so for some bits it's changing 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, some it's not changing. So here you can see that we are using a library. So this is one of the things that I mentioned in my very first class, is that one of the things that makes Python very powerful is that it's an open source language, which means it's available for free. None of you had to pay to use Python. You are all able to download it for free from the internet. And it has a large number of libraries which people have written and introduced to Python. And you can find libraries for almost every kind of specialized task that you have. For example, for plotting, you use something called matplotlib. I am an astrophysicist, so in astrophysics there are multiple libraries. One very popular one is called astropy, and so on. So what you do is you import a library, then you get access to all the functions in that library. You don't have to write it yourself. So here we are importing a library called random, where, which is what it sounds like, it helps you to generate random numbers, right? So let's just see how it works. I'm again taking my terminal. So import random. Oh, sorry, one second. Okay. So let's just give this function random.random. So I'm just going to give, so you can see that A is some random number, right? Now if I again initialize A, is some other number. So random.random assigns a value which is any random number between 0 and 1. And that's what's happening here. So now that you know that, we can try to understand this a little better, right? So here you can see that there is this mutation probability which has been given as to be zero point 0.1, and then you have an evolved string which we are initializing to be an empty string. After that, what we are doing is, for every bit in the string, for every bit in our string, whatever string we are passing through the function, if our random number is less than the mutation probability, here the probability is 10%, right? It's 0.1. So if our random number turns out to be less than 0.1, then the bit is changed, right? If it's 0, it's changed to 1, otherwise it's changed to 0. Otherwise, we don't change it, we just go to the next bit, okay? So then you return the string. So that's why when I pass a string, I'm not able to predict what the result is going to be, because the result is going to be random, because it's based on this random number generator. So I will never know what it will be. All I know is I'll get a string with some ones and some zeros. Okay, so that's why I cannot definitively say it's 1 1 1 1 1 1 or 0 0 0 0. This is the understanding. Okay, so if you change this probability to something else, then you will even get another. So here on average 10% of the numbers are changed, but you can change this again. Okay, so how we assure what is random produce here? So that's the point of random, right? We don't have an assurance of what it will produce. The reason I'm using random is because I don't want to know what will be produced. I think everyone understands this question. So let's move to the next question, unless there are any other doubts. Okay, someone has raised their hand. What is the doubt? Okay. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can, yeah, you can put it in the chat. I'm moving to the next question for now. Okay, so again, this is another code snippet. What does this code snippet do? You're welcome. Thanks for saying that. Okay, anyway, please put your answers in the chat for this question. Okay, actually, when I post random is not clear. I'm not sure what you mean, but yeah, you have to rerun random every time to get a new random number. Okay, that's why it was in a loop. I think that's what you mean. Anyway, please try to answer this question now. How we mention mutation probability, it's always 10% or it's our choice. It's clearly your choice, right? It's a code that you write, so you can always change it. Remember, everything is in your choice in programming. There is nothing which is God given in programming. So again, this is a question where the options all look very similar, but there are subtle differences. So please try to. Okay, I can see many people saying A, some people saying B. I think B or D. D as A and B are incomplete, A and B. So let me just go to the answer maybe. So the answer is actually B. The answer is that it takes a count of the elements. So again, first line is about the count of the elements. After that, you get the sum of the elements and prints the sum along with the average. So in A, the count was not mentioned. That's why it's not the correct option. Okay. Let's move to the next question. I think so that we are on time. So next question. So again, here the random library is used. Okay. So please try to answer this question. In B, it's not mentioned that the list is taken from the user too. I guess you're right, but I think it's it's understood that maybe it's understood. That's why that's not needed to be explicitly mentioned. Okay, most of you are saying B. That's good. That there's a majority option this time. Okay. Okay, maybe we can move to the answer. So the answer is actually B. So here we are using something called random dot shuffle, which, as you can imagine, just shuffles the letters in a or the elements of a list. So you can see that here if you want. So now you can see that after I applied random dot shuffle of A, the elements of A are now all out of order, right? Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get 2, 4, 5, 3, 1. If I again shuffle it, I'll get in some other order. And I can keep doing this. So that is the point of random dot shuffle. So since a word is nothing but a list of characters, here each character of the list become each character of the string becomes an element, and those elements are shuffled, and that's why we get a random permutation of letters in the word Python. Is that sorry? Is that fine for everyone? Okay, I think this is fine. Let's go to the next question. Consider the following code snippets. So here, what does this code do? And this is a multiple select question, so multiple options can be correct in this case, not just one option. Please put your answers in the chat. Okay, I can see that you guys are saying B. Some people are saying A also. How can the option be B and D? B and D says so two completely different things, right? B says it's giving the elements in reverse order, and D says it's in the same order. So both B and D cannot be correct. Interesting. So I think the majority of people are saying D, but some people are saying A and B. Some people are just saying B. So I'll just give a minute more because I don't see a clear majority yet. Oh, A and C is a new one. Okay. Okay, B, C, D. I can see all the options. Give a minute because I don't see a clear majority. Okay, fine. So let's see what the option is. So before going to the answer, let's just see what insert does, right? So let's again have our favorite list. So I'll just clear this first. So let's have our favorite list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let me give a dot insert 6. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if I give A dot insert, I have to give two elements, right? Correct. So when I give A dot insert 0, comma 6, what does it do? Let's print A and see what happens. So you can see that it inserts the element 6 at the 0th position in the list. So that means that insert is a function that inserts a value at the position that we give in the function. So now can you understand what this is doing? So the answer is actually A and B. Because what this effectively does is it reverses the list. Why does it reverse the list? Because let's just look at this like this. So first of all, the first element is taken, right? 1. 1 is inserted at the 0th position. Then the next element is 2. Now 2 is inserted in the 0th position. So now the list is 2 comma 1. Next 3 is inserted at the 0 position. 3 comma 2 comma 1. Like that, when we keep on inserting all the elements, they will be inserted in the opposite way, right? Because every time an element is inserted, it's inserted in the first position. So that's why finally what we get is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So essentially I get the list in reverse order. So you can see that both of these options are correct. It reverses the number list and stores it in new numbers. And essentially, how it does that, it creates an empty list called new numbers and appends elements from numbers to it in the reverse order. Okay. Someone says that explain previous question once you executed with list of numbers, but in question only one string. So remember that a string is nothing but a list of characters, right? So when I write Python, that's actually a list of Python. So that's why shuffle still works. So strings are all lists. Not every list is a string, but every string is a list. I mean, it says that it stores it in new numbers, right? It doesn't say that it stores it in the original array. So the first option is also correct. Guys, be a little smart about this, okay? I saw some of you saying B and D are correct. How can B and D be correct? B and D says two different things, okay? So be a little smart when you give the answers also. Use some common sense when you give the answer. I hope the person who asked about the strings understood because string is all list. So anything I can do with a list, I can do with a string. A string is nothing but a list of characters. Okay? Okay, fine. So shuffle works on strings, shuffle works on lists also. String is a list of alphabets or characters. Okay, next question. Which of the following is an example of social computing or cloud computing? This is a multiple select question. This shouldn't take you time because it's just a theory question in that sense. So please answer. I don't think this should take you time, nothing to work out. Okay, I can see people saying C and D, B and C, D. These are multiple select questions, so multiple answers are correct. A, C, and D, all, B, C, and D, all, A, B, and C. Okay, I think we'll move to the answer. So we have time to do all the programs that I had planned. The answer is actually all of them. All of these are examples of getting or websites or platforms where you can trade ideas and opinions on things. So all of these are correct options. Okay. So yeah, if any of you have any doubt, think this is a straightforward question. Just go and look up these websites, I guess. Okay, next question. What does the following code do? Again, read the options carefully. Okay? Read the options carefully and answer. Okay, I can see some people saying A. A and B. Some people are also saying B. Oh, this was in your tutorial. That's good. Then you should be able to answer it. A and B are not exactly the same option. I would say there is a small difference between them. Okay, I guess we can move to the answer. I don't see a clear majority here. Most of you seem to see saying either A or B. The answer is actually A. Can anyone tell me what's the difference between A and B? Exactly. So this word both is very important, right? It's not just replacing multiples of 3 and 5, it's replacing multiples of both 3 and 5. So for example, 18 is a multiple of 3 but not of 5. 25 is a multiple of 5 but not of 3. But if you have something like 15, 15 is both a multiple of 3 and 5. So that's why both is important in the there. Okay, so that's why both 3 and 5 should be mentioned. Otherwise, it's wrong. If I just say replacing multiples of 3 and 5 with whispers, that assumes that 18, 25, 21, these are all replaced. But that's not true. Only if it's 15, 30, these kinds of numbers, it's replaced. Okay, I think this is clear. Again, be very careful with these kinds of questions. The options look the same and then, but first if condition will be printed first. I mean, yeah, but that doesn't mean the option should also be in the first in that order, right? That's not necessary. The option just tells you what's happening. It doesn't have to be in the order of the program, right? Anyway, next question. Okay, next question. For what value of n does the program print 10? Try doing it. No, try writing down the different parts of the program, different variables which are there, and see what's happening. So try to understand. So whenever I don't understand a program, I try to write down all the variables which are there. So there's n, there's a, which is a list, there's L1, which is a list, and then there's also this whatever k is there, and then there are two loops, right? So try writing down iteration one, what happens, iteration two, what happens. So not every program will be like you look at it and immediately it comes to you, right? It doesn't have to be obvious, except especially in assignments like this where they're trying to trick you. So try it a bit. If you don't understand, we can go through the program line by line and try to understand it too. Okay? Okay. Someone says the answer is 10. Someone says 4, someone says 5. Increasing process, I don't know what you actually mean here. Okay, I can see a number of different answers here. 5, 7, 10, 4. I'll give a few minutes in case people are still working out. Okay, so let's try doing this program and then let's try to figure out if we can understand what it does. Okay, so I'm just going to write down this program in a thing so that we can try to figure out together what it does. Because I think most of you are not answering, maybe you're having some trouble or something. So let me just copy down this program real quick. So let's keep n at the end. Let's just keep it as a for I in range n. L1 is equal to, okay, wait, let me just increase the size. P is equal to 0 for j in range I, L1 dot n j. Or k in L1, T plus equal to A dot after B. Sorry. Then k is equal to 0 for L in T, k plus equals 1, print k. Okay. So let's see what this is doing, right? So first of all, this loop is going to run n times. Okay. We have to figure out what value of n is going to make this print statement 10. So let's just move to the answer. I think some of you got it. The answer is actually 10. So let me explain. So let's first see if 10 is correct. I had worked it out to be 10. And you can see that when I run the program, I get 10 as the output. So that means that 10 is the answer. So how is 10 the answer? So let's see what these are doing. So first of all, there are two loops, right? Actually, there are four loops. Okay, there's one loop here, and then within this loop itself, I have two more loops, and then I have one final loop here. So first of all, again, this is how you do a program that you don't understand. You can just try to print things, right? Just print, for example, here, just print L1 or print P. This is how you decode a program you don't understand. Just put print statements everywhere. Then you can really see what's happening. So now let's see what's happening, right? So now you get somewhat of an idea because you can see exactly what's happening every time the loop runs. So this still might not be very useful to you.
So let's try to just go through the program. So first of all, we have two empty lists. One is A and one is L1. Now this loop is going to run how many times? This is going to run 10 times, right? Or let's say n times, and n is 10. So that's why this loop is running 10 times. Now I initially have, every time the loop runs, I initialize the list to an empty list and I set p to 0. And what happens is I add each number 0, 1, 2, etc. till n to the loop, right? And that's what happens. Here you can see that first, in the first pass, I just add 0. Then I am adding 0 and 1, then 0, 1 and 2. And that's exactly what's happening, that L1 is getting each element of the list up to n. From 0 to n is being added to L1, and then we are printing L1 just to see what's happening. And then for every k in L1, which means for every element in L1, we are just increasing it. So this is essentially counting the elements in L1. And here we are actually just, L1 contains elements 0 to n. And in every iteration that changes. So in the first iteration, n is 0. So it's just 0. In the second iteration, n is 1. So it's 0 and 1. So there are two elements and so on. And that's exactly what you see when you get the print statements. So I'm just removing the print statements because they're making the terminal cluttered. But other than that, it's fine. So I'm just running the program again. 10. And then finally, I'm appending p to the list. Sorry. What am I saying? I'm appending, I'm appending whatever the value is p to the list. Then what I'm doing is, for every element L in A, I'm just increasing k by 1, right? And then finally I'm printing k. So that's why it becomes 10, because finally what I'm doing is I'm just taking a count. I keep on taking a count, right? And that's why. So for example, here if I print L, here you can actually see that. So you can see that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, because A has the value 10, which is what the value we started with. So essentially, all of these things are doing the same thing. P and K are doing the same thing, which is just that it's taking a count. Because A contains whatever is there, that's why it all comes to the same value. Okay, so this is the idea. Oh, maximize. I mean, there's nothing to see here. It's just the same program that you ran. Okay, this is clear to everyone. This is essentially, it looks very complicated, but here I'm just taking a count. And the count of the elements is the same as the initial number that I gave. And that's why initially if I give 10, I finally also get 10. Yeah, these two for loops here, this just adds every 0 to n, right? That's what I wrote here. It runs n times, and every time L1 contains elements 0 to n, and P just basically counts the elements in L1. Is this clear to everyone? In last line, there is k plus equal to L. Yeah. Sorry. That's what I wrote, right? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Is it L? Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe I wrote it wrong. No, it's k plus equals 1, right? This is 1, I thought. Yeah, I think it's 1. That's why it's... If it's L, then the... Okay, I thought the option said 1. That's why I got the answer as 10. If it's L, your answer is going to be something else. Maybe it's a font. This looked like 1 to me. Huh, one sec. Okay, let's try to work it out for L, right? So if it's L, then that's... One sec. Okay. So if it's L, the option, then for 10 is not the answer. If it's L, then what happens? Then K plus equal to L should give 10. That means K is equal to L plus L. Sorry, K is equal to 0 plus L. What is L again? L is whatever is A. So that means that, 1 second. I thought it said 1. So that's why I had done this. But okay. 4 is the answer then. Okay, let's try what comes with 4. This is good. This is how you do programming. Okay, so if I give 4, okay, let me just, it may maximize this. Okay, 1 sec. Okay. So let me just clear my terminal. If I run this, if I give 4, as you can see, the option is 6. So what's actually happening if L is its K plus equal to L, then K is equal to K plus L, right? Which means K is just L, or K is equal to K plus L, and L is going to be 1. So it should be, okay, so it should be 5, I think. Yeah. So if it's K is equal to K plus L, then the option is 5. Because essentially you're doing 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, right? But always a list starts with 0. So that's why you need 5 elements. You need 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So this basically takes sum of elements from 0 to n, and n gives you actually 0 to n minus 1. Yeah. What is the issue? Oh, okay, okay, sorry. Mm, oh, okay, sorry, I I gave some periods by mistake. Okay. Yeah. So now the answer is 10. Okay, good. So the answer is 10. So K is equal to K plus L. Yeah. So the answer is 10. Sorry, the answer is 5 then. So is that clear to everyone? So in case I got the initial question wrong, I had thought it was n plus 1. Sorry, K plus equals 1. But in which case it would just be taking account. But some of you pointed out that it might have been L. So if it's L, that means it's a sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 until n minus 1, which we just worked out. And that's why the answer is 5. Is this clear to everyone? Okay, good, good, good. Thanks for pointing it out. I can also make mistakes. So clearly, I just thought the program was just taking the count in two different ways, but it was actually first loop was taking the count, and this was about the sum of the numbers from 0 to n minus 1. So that's why 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is of course 10, and that's why we get 5 as the answer. Okay, any doubts in this? I think this is clear. I showed you my working out. So, okay, it's already 7:20. I've had programs I wanted to do. So let's try to move a little quicker. Oh God, I still have a bunch of questions. Okay, let's try to do all the MCQs and one or two programs. Let's be a little quicker. And then I'll share all the programs with you as usual. But let's try to do all the MCQs. Okay, fine. What is the following code perform? And let's try to be a little quicker. Okay, one person says C, others. Okay, one more C. One more C. Please keep the answer discussions in chat related to Python. Others, okay? Okay, for want of time, I'm just going to move to the answer. I can see all the people who have answered so far have said C. The answer is actually C. Very good. So here what's important is we are using the modulus function. So modulus function, which we discussed last week, gives you the remainder. So if something divided by 2 does not give 0, then we know that it's an odd number. So here essentially all odd numbers are converted to some even number by multiplying 2 with 4. And at even indices, the value is negative because we are multiplying by -1. So this is the answer. Okay. So, so that's what. So obviously in the beginning we are assuming that the initial list had all positive values. Okay, I think this is a straightforward question. I'm moving to the next question. This should take you no time. Please answer quickly. Let's move to the programs after this. Is the answer yes or no? Does the code run or does it throw an error? Okay, someone says yes, yes. Few more answers and then I'll move. Okay. Okay, good, 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 good. So this is one of the ways in which you can do file functions in Python. You can actually open files, text files in Python for reading. And this is a code which does exactly that. So this is exactly how you print or read data from a text file in Python. Next question, and this is an interesting question. So these are the last few questions which is based on this code. So please look at the code and try to answer the question. What does the following code print for n is equal to 256? Does it print Python is fun or Python is boring? Okay, I can see few people have answered with B. Okay, okay, one person says A. Very good question. What is double slash means? We'll see when I discuss the answer. For now, why don't you just try running a few things with double slash and we'll see what happens. So I think let's move to the answer because the next two questions are also based on this code. So many of you said B and some of you said A. Okay, some more of you are saying A. The answer is actually A. Okay, so let's see why. Those of you who answered B or A, can you guess what this code is doing? Right. So some of you are addressing the question in the chat, which is what does this double slash do? So let's try to understand that first, and then we'll move to what the code is actually doing. Okay. So for that, let me just fix this. Okay. So let me show. Let me just show you what it does. That's easier. So suppose I just give 5 divided by 2, then that gives me 2.5, right? But if I give 5 double slash 2, that just gives me 2. So basically the double slash is for integer division or floor division as some of you called it, where only the integer part of it without the decimal point is considered. Okay, so that's what the double slash does. It just takes out the integer part of it. Okay, so this is what double slash does. With that, let's try to understand this program. If you guys find it difficult, I can write it down, but let's try to understand without writing it down, right? So K is 0, B is 0, and A is an empty list. Now we have a loop that we need to go through. So while n is not equal to 0, k is equal to k plus n mod 10. So this is just going to give me the remainder, right? So if n is 256, then first k is going to be just 6, right? And then a dot append will give me just a is going to just contain the number 6. Then I am dividing n by 10 without taking the remainder. So now n is 25. I go back. Now k will be 6 plus 5. A is going to contain 6 and then 5 also. And then n is equal to, again you divide, you just get 2. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm extracting each digit of 256, right? I'm first extracting the ones digit 6, then I'm extracting the tens digit 5, then I'm extracting the hundreds digit 2. And k is taking a sum of all of these values. Whereas a is storing each digit individually. So a is going to be 6, comma 5, comma 2, for example. Okay. So k is just giving me, once again I'm explaining, k is giving me the sum of the digits in the number, and a is storing each digit. After that, what is the second loop doing? The second loop is taking each element in A and taking their sum, which means that it's just giving me the sum of the number again, right? So K is also giving me the sum of each digits of the number. B is also giving me the sum of all the digits in the number. So in two different ways, I found the sum of the digits of the number. So definitely B and K are the same. B is always equal to K. So it will print Python is boring and Python is not fun, which is a statement that I hope you guys don't agree with. Anyway, do you guys understand the program now? This is what I mean by we can understand programs without running them. If you just sit down and you can also write K takes this value, B takes this value, you will be able to understand that as well. Is this clear to everyone? Okay, I'm assuming it's clear. We're going to go to the next question. Good, good, good. I can see your thumbs up now. Okay, great. Next question. From the previous question. So let me just copy paste the code in case you need it as a reference. Okay. From the previous question, is a dot sort, this line, responsible for printing of either of the two possible sentences? So I just explained the code to you. So you guys should be able to, yeah, I think you guys will be able to just answer this. Because I've already kind of given you the answer by explaining the code to you. What is the answer? Okay. You can see some people are saying C. Okay. Okay, some 1B, but mostly C. So maybe we can move to the answer because it's already 7:30 and I want to do the programs today. Some of you are saying B. The answer is actually C. The code will never print Python is fun because as I discussed with you, um, B and K are the same no matter what number it is because they are calculating the same thing. So the code is never going to have this condition and it will never print Python is fun. Okay, so that's the understanding. It's not even depending on n. That's the point. For any n, this the whatever n you give, the program is going to have only the same outcome, which is Python is boring. Okay, so that's why the option C is correct. Great. Okay, last question of this before we move to the programs. Can you say what is the value of k and b if n is equal to this number? I'll give you a minute. I explained already what the program does. So this should just be a maths question, I think. Okay, someone says 57. Any other answers? Remember that k and b always have the same value, which we just now discussed. 55. Is it the first digit of n? I just explained what the program does. That's not what the program does. Okay. I can see that many of you are saying 57. At least those of you have answered. The answer is actually 57. As I explained, what K and B are the sum of the digits in the number. And if you add this up, don't worry about this huge number 10 into 3, 10 to the power 3359 is just going to give you a bunch of zeros. So that's not going to affect your answer in any way, right? Because 0 plus 0 plus 0 is not going to affect your sum. So what you need to do is just take the sum of all these numbers. And if you take the sum of these numbers, which I have, and I'm not going to do it now for want of time, you will get the answer to be 57. So that's why the answer is 57. This is clear to everyone. Okay, I'm going to assume it's clear to people so that we can move. So we only have half an hour left. I initially had 5 programs to discuss with you. I am going to try to do at least 2. And then, as usual, all the programs will be shared with you on the Google Drive. So after the session, I highly encourage you guys to go and look at the programs which we don't discuss in class so that you can get an idea. And if you have any doubts in any of the programs, you can, of course, contact me on my mail ID. Okay. So let's try to do at least 2 programs. And the reason why I say 2 is because I'm going to give you time to actually solve the programs on your own. For 256, I think you guys know how to do 2 plus 5 plus 6, right? I'm assuming that I don't need to teach you mathematics also. 13. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 plus 2 is 13. Okay. So I'm going to go to the programming assignments now. As always, I'll give you some time to solve the program your own. Please try to write the program. If you're not able to get the entire program correct, that's perfectly fine. But at least go through the motion of writing the program, or at least try to figure out the logic of the program. As I said, you will not learn programming unless and until you write programs yourself. So please try to do that, okay? So this is the first question. Write a Python program that finds the second largest number in a list of positive integers, which could include 0 also. The program should prompt the user to input a list of numbers, then compute and print the second largest number in that list. So I'll give you 10 minutes. Please try to solve the program, or at least get what's it say? At least get the logic of the program. So remember, it's not the largest number. The largest number is easy. I want the second largest number. So please try this. I'll give you 10 minutes and then we can discuss the answer together. So again, I have 5 programs. I could just list them. I could just explain them all to you by just showing you the answers. I don't want to do that. I'm giving you a chance to solve it because that's really how you're going to learn programming. Okay, so I'm giving you 10 minutes. Please try to at least get the logic of the program. If you don't know all the Python commands, that's fine. You will get used to it only if you write programs. So make mistakes, write programs, it's fine, but try to write this now. I'll give you 10 minutes. Are you guys trying? Can those of you are trying, please raise your hands. Okay, good. Okay, fine. Others also, please try doing the program so that you can understand how programming works. You don't have to paste the code in the chat. You can just try it for some list like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see if you get 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should get 4 as the answer, right? So see if that works. Minimum two numbers in the list. That is correct, actually. Yeah, if it's just one element, then that number is only the largest number, the second largest number, all of the above. That's correct, actually. So these are the kind of things that you realize when you start writing the program only. That when you start writing the program, you realize that, yeah, I should have a condition that there should be at least two elements in the list. So good, good. Highest number should not be repeated. That's also true. Um, I mean, highest number can be repeated, I think. That is the way to get around it, I think. Let's see. Okay, I'll give you 5 more minutes and then we can discuss the solution. Okay, let's try to do two programs before the class ends. Okay, fine. Initialize second largest to first and largest of first two elements, then loop from the rest. Okay, yes. So just try. I hope you are getting the solution. That's perfectly valid way to do it. Yeah, sure. You can share whatever algorithm you've got. You can share it. Those of you who are, having some trouble, you can also check how your friends have solved it. Okay. So how will you sort it in reverse? Yeah, so sorting is not trivial, right? Yeah, your method is perfectly valid. If you know how to sort, then this is perfectly valid. Oh, sort. Okay, okay. You mean sort as in the list sort thing, right? Yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah. This is one way to do it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Correct. Yeah, I was thinking of sorting in a different sense. Correct, correct. So, okay. Others, I'll try. I'll give you 2 more minutes and then let's discuss the answer. So we have time to do one more program, okay? But please, again, continue trying it out and let's do it like this, okay? This will fail if there's repeated highest number. That's correct. So that's why you said. Okay, so someone else has also used the sorted and reverse. So, but yeah, this will fail if there's a repeated highest number. That's correct. So that's why I said there are other ways to do it which can get over this hurdle. Okay, most of you are now sharing answers. So let's try to look at the solution that I have. Okay, so good. Many of you have used inbuilt methods, but let's see if we can do it without using an inbuilt method also. And let's close this week 3 program. Okay, so as you can see, I have done it in 3 methods, right? And the third method is exactly what you said, sorted of my list, which is, sorted is just going to sort a list, right? So that's fine. But the other ways to do it is without using the built-in functions, and one of you had already said it. So this first three lines are just for taking the input as a list and all that stuff. This we had already seen last time. So we initialize values for maximum and second maximum from the first two elements of the list, which one of you had said. So let's call maximum to be the max of the first two elements, and the second maximum will be the other element. And then now I'm going to take the length of the list. Then what I'm going to do is I'm first going to find if there is a bigger element in the list than max, because that would actually be the true maximum. Right now, the old maximum becomes a second maximum, and so on. So this is just to calculate what is a maximum. Then what we do is, then in case the maximum value is already the second highest value, then we now need to check for the second maximum value is assigned to the next highest. So if sorry, it should be higher than this, and if the maximum value is not in the list, then we get the second maximum value to be exactly that. If this maximum and second maximum value are equal, which is what your friend was saying, if there is a repeated maximum, then we assign second maximum to the next highest value, which is what is done here. Okay, so exactly that is why second highest number is calculated. So it takes care of all the numbers. So first loop is just to calculate the maximum. Second one is to assign the second maximum correctly. The third one is just to take care of that condition where the maximum and the second maximum number are equal. Okay. Method 2 is like just I'm defining a second largest. So here what you are doing is you just take largest to be the minimum of the array and second largest to be 0. Instead of using the first two elements, I'm just using 0 and the minimum element. And then it's kind of the same. I'm first finding what is the largest element and then making second largest to be the largest element every time. Then if that doesn't work, then that means that already the largest element was correctly identified. Then I just keep second largest to be the second largest element with the what is the current array element. Okay, and that returns the second largest element. This is clear to everyone. These are both the same way. Here, I'm just iterating by initially analyzing, assigning the value to be the first two elements of the list. Here, I just assign it to be 0 and the minimum. In both cases, I have to update the list first with the maximum value and then with the second largest value. So we have to always find the largest value and then compare and find the second largest value. Okay. So the last method is what you guys said. Okay, my list dot sort or sorted of my list or something like that. So let's one second. Let's just run the program and see. So I'm just going to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can find that all three methods give me the same answer, which is 4. So all three methods are the same. This is what I mean by programming is a very creative endeavor. You can always find different ways to do the same program. And that's why, you should always be very creative and you should write your own programs, because you might have a fourth method, which is not any of these methods, right? So there's always different ways to approach the same problem. And as long as they all are equivalent, as long as you understand what it's doing, every method is valid, equally valid. Okay, fine. So is this clear to everyone? Okay, I hope it's clear to everyone. I'm just going to move to the next question. I'm just seeing the chats. Yes, okay, great. Let's move to the next program. Let's do one more program before we close today. As I said, I had initially planned to discuss 5 programs. I will share all the Python files with you, but please don't look at the solutions first itself. Please try to do the program first and then look at the solution. And if you still feel stuck, then please feel free to mail me. I'll share my mail link again at the end of the class, okay? And it's also on all the slides, so you should be able to find it. Then the next question. Create a Python program that removes even duplicate positive integer numbers, including 0 from a list, and prints the unique numbers in the order they first appear. The program should prompt the user to input a list of numbers and process a list to remove duplicates and print the resulting list of new unique numbers. So we have to remove duplicates in a list. That means if I have something like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, then I have to remove the duplicate elements. But I shouldn't remove all the duplicate elements, only the even duplicate elements. So if it's 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, then the answer should be 1, 2. I'm removing the duplicate 2. 3, 3, 4, 5 is fine. 3 being repeated twice is fine because 3 is an odd number. Is this clear to everyone? Does everyone understand the question? Any doubt in the question, please let me know. I'll give you 10 minutes again to do this question and then we can discuss. Yeah, I mean, sure, you can use set for this. Set is another type of data structure in this case, but you can also use another way. So, set, in case people don't know, I think we'll be covering this in future weeks. Set is a type of list where there is no duplicates. Okay, that is what it's about. But try to do it just with list. There is a way to do it. I'll show you the answer. So again, using set is completely fine, but in case someone doesn't know what a set is also a data structure. The difference between a set and a list is that set cannot have repeated elements. But again, remember, we only want to remove the even numbers. We don't want to remove the other odd duplicates. So if I give you 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, it should give me 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I hope you guys are trying. How many of you are trying? Can you just raise your hands? Okay. Okay, fine. Someone has posted a solution. Good. Others who are trying, I'll give you 2 more minutes. For want of time, I'll just show the solution after this. As I said, there were 3 more programs I'd initially planned, but yeah, maybe I should cut down on the MCQs next time. I'll still be sharing all the program files with you and the questions. And if you have any doubts, you can mail me anytime through the. So let's move to the answer so that we can end on time. I don't want to keep you guys on a Sunday night. So someone has posted the solution. Those of you are trying, keep trying. I'll just show my solution in the meantime. As I said, this is one solution. There are multiple ways to do a program, as we just saw in the previous case. So if you find a different solution, that's still valid as well. Okay, as long as you understand what the solution is and it does what it's supposed to do, then it's all fine. Okay, fine. Whoops. Let's just go to program two, program three. No, no, sorry, program two. Right. So can see that this is all just the input part, so we don't need to worry about it. So we are going to take we are going to have this new list called unique even numbers because I'm going to remove the duplicates in the even number. So I think I've done it similar to whoever has shared in the chat. So for every number in the list, I'm going to check if the number is in the even. And if that number is not already in the list, then I'll append it. If it's already in the list, I'm not going to append it. This ensures that every even number is appended only once. The odd numbers, I don't need to check like this because, as I said, odd number, if it's duplicate also, we don't worry about it, right? So let's see if this works properly. Sorry, one sec. Let me just clear this again. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6. Okay, so you can see that the output has all the twos and fours only one, but then the 5 being repeated is not a problem because again they didn't tell us to remove the odd duplicate numbers, only the even duplicate numbers, and that's why it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 5, 5, 6. Okay, so that's what this condition is actually doing. It's checking that every even number is appended only once, so you don't need to actually use sets here. So okay, so I see 2 answers in the chat. 2 of them have done it exactly how I have done it. So that's very good. Again, you can do it in whatever way you want. And if you want to use sets, you are welcome to use sets as well if you understand what it is. And as I said, programming is such a thing where you are allowed to be creative. And as long as you understand the program and it gives you the correct answer, that's fine. Okay, I'm not going to do one more program. I have, as I said, 3 more programs, but I'm not going to discuss them because I don't want to keep you for more time on Sunday night, especially. So, what I will do is I will just paste my email ID in the chat again. So here's my email ID. So I will share, as I said, all of the slides and the programs with you in the Google Drive. And the recording of this class will also be available on YouTube. All the links of this is available on my website. So I will just share the link again with you. So here is the link to my website. And if you just go to my website, then you can find the YouTube playlist. I will be uploading today's class and the slides. So here you can see that in the week 2, I have the lecture notes, which is this PPT, and I also have all the programs. So I'll share it with you similarly, but guys, please try to do the program on your own first. And then if you're stuck, you can refer to my solution. As I said to you before, my solution is not the solution. There are many ways to do a program. And the way that you will learn is really if you try the program on your own. So please try to give it an honest try. Again, if you don't understand even after seeing my solution, then please mail me and I will try to explain it in a way that is understandable to you. Okay, so again, I don't want to go we I have 3 more programs, but I don't want to go into it because then we'll take more time. And you guys have all joined on Sunday night, so I don't want to keep you guys. So if there aren't any other questions immediately, we can end the session for today. Any questions, any immediate concerns? Okay. If not, let's end the session. Have a nice next week, all of you. And yeah, thank you for joining on Sunday night again. just because tomorrow I don't have time. Next week the class will be on Monday as usual. Just this week I had some other commitment, so I had to move the class. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining and thanks for your active participation. Have a good week.